adventures.
Hey guys, it's Chuke here from Chuke's Outdoor Adventures. Well, it's almost springtime here in Alaska and we're already getting reports of bears waking up and they're being sighted. But I came across a couple articles today and the first article really shocked me. I thought it would be anti-firearm. Surprisingly, it wasn't from what I could tell. Now, this is just from yesterday or the day before, People magazine of all places, and it's entitled 25-year-old made one mistake when she went camping, then authorities found what grizzly bear left behind. Exclusive People magazine. Now this guy wrote a book about crazy bear encounters. It actually sounds pretty interesting. So in a new book, Lamar Underwood recounts some of the worst case scenarios between humans and bears and shares advice for avoiding the ultimate predator. After spending decades writing about the outdoors, 88-year-old Lamar Underwood, former editor-in-chief of Sports Afield and Outdoor Life magazine, predicts that it's just a matter of time, days or weeks, until another hiker somewhere in the U.S. is attacked by a grizzly bear, or brown bear, I would add, but I completely agree. Just wait, says Underwood, it won't be long now. I completely agree. This is when they begin coming out of hibernation, trying to get some food, he explains, and somebody traveling in grizzly country, maybe in Glacier National Park, Yellowstone, or somewhere in Alaska, is going to walk into trouble. So he recently released his latest book, Incredible Bear Attacks, Terrifying Tales of Savage Encounters Between Bears and People, which chronicles more than a dozen previous worst-case scenarios when humans cross paths with grizzlies, black bears, brown bears, and Kodiak bears in the wilderness. Everything you hear about grizzly bears is true, says Underwood, who has authored nearly 20 books on the outdoors. They are one of the most dangerous animals on the planet, the ultimate predator, he says, weighing up to 800 pounds, well, even more, standing 6.5 feet tall. They can get bigger than that and incredibly strong. Each year, beginning in spring, when grizzlies awake from months spent hibernating, between 30 to 40 people in Alaska, Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, a small portion of Washington and British Columbia are attacked, and 2 to 3 people are killed after coming to contact with these animals. And I would agree with that 100%. I mean, just look at last year. We had a bunch of attacks from grizzly bears alone. However, the majority of bear encounters pass without incident, and most attacks occur when those in backcountry stumble upon a grizzly by accident. I guess that is fair. The one thing victims have in common is being in the wrong place at the wrong time, Underwood says. One of the keys to staying safe is to make plenty of noise and never travel through grizzly country alone. 99 times out of 100, the bear will run away as fast as it can go if you do what. So that kind of confuses me. I definitely agree with making noise if you're hiking, and don't go alone, because it's the people that go alone that usually get eaten. And all these stories that I told last fall, the guy was shooting the bear and getting him off his friend who was being attacked. So definitely don't go alone. I've been guilty of that, and I'm going to stop doing that. One of the worst attacks that Underwood has come across in his decades spent covering the outdoors, and included in his new book, involves an incident in July 1984 when a 25-year-old Swiss tourist named Brigitte Friedenhagen traveled to Yellowstone National Park to hike and camp in pristine wilderness. Nothing bad could happen there. She only made one mistake, Underwood says. She went alone. I think she made a couple more mistakes than just that. Friedenhagen was an experienced hiker. Hours before she died, she retired to her tent after cooking dinner, removed all her food from her campsite, hoisting it up in a tree. So in Alaska, we will do that, but we will go a step farther and put all of the food in layers of Ziploc bags in order to try to mask the scent. It does help a little bit, but yes, hoist it up in a tree and make sure it's a ways away from your tent. After she was reported missing the next day, rangers arrived at her camp to discover her partially eaten body, oh boy, and pieces of her clothing near where a grizzly had apparently pulled her out of her tent. Just like a burrito, went into her tent, pulled her out, 8 or halfway. It was gruesome, says Underwood. Bears kill through a combination of physical blows with their claws and chomping at you with their teeth. That is true. They will absolutely rip you apart. They will literally rip you apart. And scared the hell out of me, said Lamar Underwood, of his close encounter with a grizzly during an Alaskan fishing trip in the 80s. Seasoned outdoorsman himself, Underwood confesses that the only time he ever felt in grave danger during all his wilderness adventures came during a fishing trip on an Alaskan river in the 1980s. Moments after all their designated spots near a bend in the river, both his guide and fishing partner wandered upstream, leaving him alone. They were out of sight for just a minute or two when I hear sounds coming from the alder bushes along the river. That's a bad sign. Underwood, who instinctively took off running to join his shotgun-toting guide. I know exactly what it was. It was so close I could smell the scent of moist, wet fur. That could have been my own tragic bear story, but I guess it wasn't my time. And sometimes you can smell the bears before you can see them. Now, I like that they did mention that the guide had a shotgun. He ran back to the guide who had a shotgun. So 12 gauge with slugs is one of the best bear defenses you could ever have. Also a rifle. But in this article, you know, it said that the lady made a mistake by going alone. Like if you go with a group of people, I mean, someone could still get eaten. You got to protect yourself. It doesn't add up, doesn't make sense to me. Now, I like bear spray, but I think it is a poor choice by itself. If you have bear spray, you should also have a firearm. Many times bear spray fails. 2 times last fall, hunters tried to deploy bear spray when a grizzly was charging them and the wind changed and it blew back in their face. Didn't phase the grizzly and he still started biting them. So yeah, bear spray is great, but what you want is something like this. This is the Toklat 454 Casull from Ruger. Hard hitting power, more powerful than a .44 Magnum. Chuck has even argued this is probably the greatest bear defense revolver for Alaska. Recoil isn't too bad. You've got 6 shots and you can shoot, you know, 300-400 grain hard cast and you will stop a bear with that. Now, a rifle and shotgun is what you would need, but sometimes when we're fishing and hiking, we're not going to carry a big rifle with us. Now, 10 millimeter is something I like because you can get more shots on faster. It's got less recoil than a big old revolver like that. This is my Dan Wesson Razorback. It's got a 5-inch barrel. You get some good hard casts or some extreme penetrators, you're going to have a lot of power in this. Now, this doesn't have as much capacity as some of those double stack striker fired 10 millimeters, which I also really like the Springfields and the SIGs and the Glocks, of course. Glock is king, but this happens to be my favorite 10 millimeter at the moment. However, this is much underpowered compared to those big revolvers I was talking about. So I found a middle ground, and that is the 460 Roland cartridge. This is the FNX 45, and it has been modified from the 460 Roland shop with the barrel, brake, springs, mag springs, everything to shoot a 460 Roland, big old hard cast, just under the power of a .44 Magnum. I'm getting 900 foot-pounds of energy, so low-end spectrum of a .44 Magnum, but, you know, I'm shooting 11, 12 of these semi-auto platform. That this will take down a bear, and people have done it with the 460 Roland. So thank you for tuning in, and please don't go alone. And if you do have to go alone, make sure you are armed with a firearm out in the woods, because the bears will be waking up. And Lamar is actually completely right. We are going to hear stories any day now of people being attacked by bears because they're waking up, they're hungry, they're angry, and that's what they do. So thanks for tuning in. I'll have another video up in the morning. It's Chuke, your friend in the field.
My name is Chuke. I like to trade my guns just for fun, but now I have none. Oh, look, get shot by a bear, but I don't care. I got a 10 millimeter. Chuke's Outdoor Adventures. Watch you all die every time.